Today we're going to take a look at a Fright Manor home on the Maj'Dul server. This one is listed under the title of A Necromancer's Manor, and the homeowner is Ashes. Now, this is a home that I actually decorated. I did it quite a few years ago, back before items and building blocks had separate item counts, and it was finished then. Maxed out. I've recently pulled that house and redone a lot of it, adding to it. So I've remaxed the available building block and item count allowed in here. So it has been updated quite a bit. So when you first zone in, this was actually my husband's idea to add the sign, Welcome Foolish Mortals. We've got a little bit of a Disney obsession, but I love this house. It's like the perfect size little house with a bit of a yard. It's got that spooky vibe. So went in and added a lot of fall trees. Now, initially, when you zone in, this zone is similar to the Storm Tower Isle, and I think there's another one where you can set the zone to either be raining or storming. I prefer not to have a storm going. It can get really laggy, so I just leave it off and keep everything a little bit calmer. But if you have a computer that can run more of a storm in a zone, go for it. As my children say, I have more of a potato PC, so I cannot do that. Um, the zone usually has a bunch of pumpkins throughout. I'm not much of a pumpkin person, so I covered all of the pumpkins with these boulders. So you'll see some boulder placement, and that was strategic to cover those up. Coming in, we've got a little bit of foliage and added this little path. Now these are the Agakian chairs that are just sunk down for the path throughout, and a little way to go to the guild hall door. Tried to keep it with a lot of the pretty florals, sort of a refined look, but mixed with touches of bone or skeletons. I don't do gory very well. So this is more of a refined Necromancer's Manor. Over here, we've got a little stable with one of the beasts, some hanging meat and little flies. And this is something that's just built with stairs and railings and a few columns to give that little stable. Now, in this zone, the graveyard is already here with some of the stones, but I've added to it a lot. So here in the middle, we've got Bavmorda saying, I need that baby alive. I must perform the ritual that will exile the child's spirit into oblivion. That's my little tribute to Willow, if you remember that old movie from the 80s. So there she is. This mausoleum is already here, but I went ahead and added the stones going up to it, a lot of the vines, this creepy gate and the mist behind it, little touches with rats and spiders. And on the back side, we have a prowler hiding in the bush. And then these graves, normally it's just the gravestones. I've gone through and I've sunk these other gravestones that you can write on. And I did not come up with most of these sayings. A lot of them I get inspiration online. But here we have clairvoyant. She never saw it coming. Back here is be afraid. Very afraid. This one is Fred, what's his face? Gone, but not forgotten. Decomposing. Here she lies. Is he dead? It doesn't look like it. Got the arms sticking up. Bury deep. Does anyone have a shovel? And then no escape. Always felt trapped. And then these are coffins that were added in the space as well. So this one is been better, having a bad day. And then this person pierced D heart. Ran with scissors. All right, coming back around, built this little water feature. This is just a couple of sarcophaguses stuck back here, and then the bookcases that match. This was the cadaver case around, but I thought that that stone looked really well with the zone. And we've got some barracudas and trout and other little fish tucked up in here and some lily pads on top. And then we've got a free blood over here saying which one of you guys is going to be for dinner. All right. So the house, we can go into the house next. So the house, I really, really love. I love this little house. Now, normally it is like this ashen color, and the bottom is normally completely open. So you'll see I screened all of this in, and I did that to create a whole nother floor underneath. And you'll see that when we go inside. So all of this has been added with the stone and then the shingles and the railing trim. And then coming up as well, this has all been skimmed with elm. Yeah, the elm to contrast a little bit more with the railings. Coming up to the front door, this has all been covered over with these. I love these shingle tiles. This is a grotto item. So the skinning of the place I did a long time ago. The update is more of the accessories that were changed throughout, but I love the shingles on the outside. That was always one of my favorite things. Over here, our necromancer has a little potting area. He's kind of combining his gardening with some skulls and little tools. The windows have taken some shelves and turned those sideways as little shutters on the outside, some bones hanging, and then some little plant boxes. These are just sarcophaguses that are put here with some plants in them. Coming inside, we have the first floor. Okay, so this is one of the floors that is normally here, but everything has been skinned. So the flooring and the walls, everything's tucked in. The entryway, we've got some alchemy tables set up, and these were all made. So the bottom part is made with maple tables, and then these little doors were created with the fronts of bedside tables and Maj'Dul door knockers. And on this side, the same thing. It's got table down here, and then this hutch top was made with the edges of some shelves. So the shelves were taken and turned sideways, one shelf this way and two the other way, just to give it a more custom look. He's got a little work table right here. I don't think I mentioned it, but this character, he's a necromancer. He's also a jeweler, dabbles, of course, in alchemy. So kept it real themed to his character. And he's got well, not all of his books. There's books throughout, but some of his books right here at his little work table. And then we've got a couple ladies over here at this table. Marissa says, which one um, actually, this is the lady outside. Which one of you is ready to be dinner tonight? This lady right here is saying, it's your turn to feed Targaryen. He looks a little thin. She's referring to his bone dragon down here on the ground. And this part, I've added this wall to tuck in a portal under the stairs, and that'll lead down to the basement or up to the attic. But I'm going to finish with the two floors that are here first, and we'll come back down. So coming back up, tried to keep it really authentic to what the home would be. So we've got like a office work area and a living area right here. And then coming up the landing, we would have a bedroom with a little fireplace and a sitting area as well. These furniture pieces. This is an item we already have, this little simple dresser, but I've tucked in red tiles around it to sort of trim it out as a bit more, and stacked a couple of them here to give a taller dresser. We've got a couple more ladies sitting over here. Drusilla says, it sounds like Ashes is busy in the attic again. And then if you look up, I added a little pull down for attic entry. So this home doesn't normally have an attic space, but I did create one, which is probably my favorite part in the house. So we'll go up there in a minute as well. But out here, you get another little balcony. We've got a little rocking chair with a couple pillows, some flowers on the front, and some more skulls stashed around the corner. And then coming back downstairs. Now this as well, this division in skinning was done before we had a lot of the shapes that we do now. So I don't think we had triangles then. This could be done easier with a triangle, but this was like a narrow divider. And then they were stacked. All right, so stepping on the portal pad, if we go down, we'll take the stairs down to the basement. And I created that illusion with stairs coming down. Now this is the part that is normally underneath the house. There's not normally a room down here, but it had a lot of space available. And I thought it just made sense with the flow. It had, if it were to have a downstairs. So coming down, this is all trimmed out with the flooring and then some wainscoting around. We've got a little dining area with another hearth built in. And then a very rustic kitchen over here on this side. We've got a dark elf cooking up. She says, sizzle, sizzle, crackle, pop, stir it in the witch's pot. So she's cooking up some stuff. Got his little pantry with some items. And then since it's a very older house, I didn't put any running water or faucets in here. So I've got the little tub here where she's washing some dishes. Going back on the other side, we've got a real rustic kitchen. It's got some of these dresser fronts, which are tucked in again to give the little doors. But then I've taken the railing of maple and sort of trimmed it out so you don't see necessarily the dresser. It just looks like little cabinet doors around and then underneath, and then added more of this like red counter, which is the Corwin. And I thought that would the red looked really good with the simple dresser, but he's got some fish and little cutting utensils, and this actually worked out really good. This was one of those torturous instrument tables, but it was sunk down in the corner so that it gives you lots of little kitchen items, if you will, on top, but without a bunch of item count. And then this room added in a little bathroom for the house because you have to have a bathroom, right? So we've got a little wash stand, and of course he's a necro, so it's very nicely done with the pillows and little wash basin accessories, but he's also got a skull candle. So combine those. We've got very rustic little chamber pot here with some reading material and a bathtub with the bucket to fill the tub with some water. All right. And coming back out, we'll take the portal. So this is where we came in from the first floor. So now if we step on the portal, we can also pull down the steps to the attic. So this attic space is in the very, very top of the house. It's not normally up here, but we are right above that upper bedroom right now. So you don't get very much space up here, but if you skin it to the outside of the house, and I'll show you outside this window, you can gain like every enough room to put something up here. So I sort of made this Ashes' workshop. So here we have Ashes, and he's a jeweler, so he's got all of his little jeweler bits and baubles. I did sink down one of the crafting tables here, so you can work on this, and he's got his Harvest Depot, and lots of little gemstones. Again, another fireplace over here on the side for him to sit. Get his epic weapon up there because he wanted that displayed somewhere. And then his altar over here in this nook. I thought it was a good spot for his little worship area. He's got some more of his books and collectibles. But this is the coolest window, is it not? You've got a view out to the front. So this is where we came in down here, and you can see the water feature in the graveyard. And I love this so, so much. I wish that this room was actually skinned out already for us in the zone. Um, but it is possible to do, and you can gain that really awesome window and get this whole bonus room if you guys are working on this house. All right, going back down to the first floor, we will go outside. And a lot of what I was able to add in this zone were all these outside things because previously just the inside was mostly done. It took up a lot of item count just skinning the home and skinning the inside. So all of this was added. But if you take the path back this way, kind of leads you around. We've got some bone digging going on over here. This guy with some mounds and tools. Got a little gazebo that was made back here. And again, I just used some of those stairs. Rickety stage steps. Yeah, rickety stage stairs, maple railings, and columns, and just built this around and then combined some items here in the middle. Got some skeletons that are summoning a creature. But then I try to keep the foliage around really those same pretty fall colors. I don't know, I've always liked the juxtaposition of something gory and gross next to something very pretty. I just think it's a cool effect. All right. I'll come back over here because I'm going to add in there, but on this side, if we came around to the other side of the house, we have a little pathway, made a cellar bunkhead doors going down. It's just a false front made with just some stones, like the crude block stone. And then this is actually the back of a painting. So it's got this really cool kind of textured metal back, if you will, on the back of this painting, which is kind of neat. It was one of the options before. We had a lot of the metal building blocks, but I do like this one because it's got like the riveted edge around the side as well. And then in the wheelbarrow, we've got some bones and nasty little flies, but then we have a cute little mushroom. So this is just a storage shed. This is actually made from two of these collection items, these nail-filled sheds. I think this was part of the meta collection from one of the trade skill lines, but I just stuck a couple of these together and then embellished it a bit more with some skull candles, and can only imagine what Ashes is keeping tucked away in that little shed. And then this back area, this little pond is normally here, but I've gone ahead and made this dock that comes out and added in all of the little glowing plants, tucked in some creatures. We've got a little eyeball over here peeking up And then over in this other back area, we've got another little, I don't know even what it is, some sort of half mushroom, half worm thing poking up, but I thought it was a pretty color. Some ghosts floating. Got some meat that has been chopped up to throw in the water and feed to the animals in here. And then the boat, which was added. This is a really cool item. This is actually a station cash item. It comes as like a set with different pieces, but it's really, really neat. I've been holding on to this for a long time in my bag, not knowing what to do with it, and thought it fit pretty cool here. So I added a couple pillars, making it look like the ferry boat is on its way out, and added some mist and little glowing bits in here. And then if you step on this portal pad, it says take the ferry beyond the wall. So when you step on this, you are on solid ground, but it just takes a second to load what's around you. This part is actually done in the breakout area around this zone. And I know the Fright Manor came out a long time ago, but if you haven't been in here and you haven't seen part of the breakout, you actually get a huge amount of building space outside of this home. So I just used a little bit of it to kind of make this garden, if you will. When I was out of game for quite a few years, and when I came back, there were all of these glowing mushrooms and plants, and I had been wanting to do something with all of them because I just think they are so, so pretty. So I just kind of made this little transition death garden, I guess, if you will. But I took these paths, little, these are those grave markers that were in the graveyard that you can write on. They're the hewn stone signs. And I sunk them down for a pathway here and then added all of these different quotes just about death. So, to the well organized mind, death is but the next great adventure. That was J.K. Rowling. When the earth shall claim your limbs, then shall you truly dance. It is nothing to die, it is frightful not to live. Death is no more than passing from one room into another, was Helen Keller. And I think there is more to that one. I think she goes on to say, except for her, like there will be light in the next room, or she'll be able to see in the next room, something along that lines. It's been a long time since I've read that. From my rotting body, flowers shall grow, and I am in them, and that is eternity. I think that's a pretty quote. The fear of death follows from the fear of life. A man who lives fully is prepared to die at any time. Death is not the greatest loss in life. The greatest loss is what dies inside us while we live. To live in hearts we leave behind is not to die. That's a beautiful thought as well. People living deeply have no fear of death. Death is the destination we all share. No one has ever escaped it. Well, I thought I was learning how to live. I've been learning how to die. So I don't know. I just thought they were all quotes about death. It's a necromancer's manor, but they're pretty quotes of death, if you will. So anyway, a closer look at the garden. Sort of layered everything in here, and you can see this is where a lot of that extra item count went, but I had it to play with, so I thought I'd use every last bit that I could, and then added some more of the dead trees around here. And then this part I left open. So I put a little sign with just a warning. It's an open space. You can explore the full breakout of this zone. And I'll take you out here just so you can see it if you've never seen. Um, Huge, huge area. So it goes all the way to the end and then it just kind of falls off. But it's got this big area that goes all the way around, and you don't actually make it back to the house until you run through this tall grass. So there's a lot of this really tall grass with space in between. Now, all of these dead trees are trees that are normally here that you can see from the inside. And then you can see going back to the color where I had added in the colorful trees around the outside of the existing zone. And if you come all the way back, you can actually peek back inside to where you came from. And of course, it doesn't necessarily load fully. You can kind of see this part right here, but it's missing some pieces. And the house isn't skinned from the outside. It'll take another minute to fully load, but you can peek back in at your creation. So it gives you an idea of the big space that's really out here if you want to break out. And it goes all the way around. So if you were looking for another zone that's similar to um, Tenebrous Tangle, but with a different sort of sky atmosphere, because if you look up, the sky is just amazing. I think it's very creepy. You would have a lot of building space in this zone if you just put a breakout pad and then built out here. So again, this one's got, let's see, now I forgot which way I came out. I put the little warning sign there. If you come out, just, don't get lost to find your way back in. But it gives you a lot of possibility for what you can do. Anyway, all right, I'm going to end this one right here. Again, if you're on Maj'Dul, stop by and check this one out. This one was called A Necromancer's Manor. And thank you guys for watching. Bye.